Good day from School Transportation News. I'm Ryan Gray. It's time for the latest edition of the STN vlog. This week, the Alternative Clean Transportation Expo returned to the Long Beach Convention Center here in sunny Southern California to showcase the latest in advanced clean vehicle technologies and funding opportunities. The ACT Expo featured many familiar companies and organizations, the likes of which included Navistar, Thomas Built Buses, and Allison Transmission. About 2,500 people were in attendance, and public and fleet managers were joined by OEM reps, station developers, fuel providers, truck and engine manufacturers, and fueling equipment suppliers, as well as other alt-fuel experts and even public policy makers. More than 80 vehicles were on display during the trade show, and 125 experts spoke at 21 conference sessions, as well as presented a dozen training sessions on alt-fuels. The main message of the ACT Expo is there is no silver bullet solution to solving the nation's energy security and air quality challenges, something that most student transporters should be well aware of. Speaking of conferences, School Transportation News posted the full conference agenda online for this summer's STN Expo. The event kicks off on Saturday, July 21st, with 3 pre-conference seminars, including Nonviolent Crisis Intervention, the Preventative Techniques, presented by the Crisis Prevention Institute, and the NHTSA Child Passenger Safety Restraint Systems on School Buses training. Attendees can also register for the American Heart Association's CPR AED with basic first aid training. The full conference starts the following day and continues on Monday, which is highlighted by a keynote address from actor J.R. Martinez, a war hero, winner of season 13 of ABC's Dancing with the Stars, and a true fan of the yellow school bus. The one-day trade show is Tuesday, followed by a special event new to the STN Expo this year, the Industry Social Networking event. The conference concludes Wednesday, July 24th at noon. Be sure to follow the latest at stnexpo.com or on Twitter at #RoadToReno. Gina Critchley, like many school bus drivers, wears multiple hats each day. She, of course, navigates the bus, is a safety guardian, and plays mediator and nurse while en route. But Critchley is so much more. She is a senior radio driver, the title for the most experienced drivers at Prince William County Public Schools in Northern Virginia, who operate sub-routes and are driver trainers. She's also a poet with 5 full notebooks of her work that dates back to when she was a child. Gina, who is also a parent and an employee for the local fire rescue squad and a local planning commissioner, is taking time out of her busy schedule to speak with us about her poetry and her inspiration, the kindergarten through 12th grade students that she transports every day. Hi, Gina. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
So when did you start writing poetry, and how did you get started?
I started writing poetry around the age of 12. It was a way to express my feelings about certain things I had experienced or things I believed in. I used to hide my poetry notebooks, but my mom found them one day. I came in and she was telling me how nice my poems were, and I've been writing ever since. One day, I would like to have them published.
And when did your love for the school bus begin?
When I was 8 years old, I told my daddy that when I grew up I wanted to drive a school bus because I had the best bus driver in the world and I wanted to be just like her. I started driving a school bus as a high school student in 1983. I graduated in 1985. I furthered my education and worked a few jobs, and once I had my children, I realized that I missed being with children. And with my son in school, it would enable me to be able to be with him by driving a bus. So I began working as a teacher assistant, and they needed a driver for 7 special needs boys. No one else would drive them, so I said I would. Once I started driving, it was the best feeling to be back in the driver's seat. So I've done it ever since. I've driven in 2 different states, in 3 different school districts. I've worked a few other jobs, but I always return to driving a school bus because I really enjoy driving. And the influence bus drivers have on children, a lot of times is not realized, but we do influence the children because we're the first thing they see of a morning associated with school, and we're the last thing they see in the evening associated with school. May 10th was my 19th year as a school bus driver.
What inspires you to write poetry about your experiences on the bus?
I basically write about what I see on and around the bus. I see something or something happens and the idea sticks with me until I can get home and put it down on paper. Sometimes at layovers in between bus routes, I'll write a few of my ideas down and I'll come home, get to my computer and add to them. Most poems just flow from me, but there are times when I have to give my idea a little extra time to think the poem through.
Would you read one of your latest works for us?
Yes, I will. Before I went to bed last night, I carefully laid out my favorite dress. I got all of my homework together, and I said my prayers. When I woke up, I put on my favorite outfit. My mom fixed my hair with a pretty bow, and I looked so perfect. I hugged my dad when he left for work. My mom walked me to the bus stop. I hugged my mom, and I told her I love her. I rode the bus to school. While I was at school, I got an A on a report. I picked out my favorite book. I couldn't wait to get home to see my mom and dad and read it to them. I got on the bus. I sat with my best friends. I told the bus driver to have a good afternoon, and I got off the bus. When I crossed the street, the car didn't stop for the bus lights. I was right in front of the car. The car couldn't stop in time. I never made it home to my parents. I never got to show them the A I got in school. I never got to read my favorite book. I will never get to hug my parents again. My parents cried for a long time. Everyone came to the funeral. I could see it from heaven. I wish it wasn't happening. If only that car had stopped for the lights on the bus.
Very touching, Gina. It shows how important the roles of school bus drivers are to child safety. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Keep up the great work.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a great pleasure.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Stay tuned for more updates from the School Transportation News vlog, and be sure to visit our online blogs at stnonline.com.